Thank you for joining us here on our audio broadcast on Mystery of the Archaeoraptor. Today we have a great show in store for you. We will be looking in depth into the Archaeoraptor debacle. We have brought in two guests to discuss why such a large amount of people fell for this con and would prove to be its demise. Archaeologist and paleontologist Alexander Perez and reporter Colby Din have joined us here to give us insight behind this event. First off, we have Colby Din to explain why people believed this initially. This is Colby Din. He is a reporter who followed the story of the Archaeoraptor fossil since the beginning. How did it even start?
This all started when a Chinese farmer found two incomplete fossils and decided to put them together and sell it for a quick buck. The Dinosaur Museum of Utah's owner, Stefan Circus, eagerly bought this fossil because he thought it would generate massive revenue for the museum. He then brought specialists in to examine it. It should have stopped there, but it would continue to spiral out of control. Specialists were called onto the scene to investigate.
So Colby, what happened next after Circus called in the specialist?
Well, Phil Curry was called in with National Geographic along with Chinese scientist Su Xing. They reviewed it and found it to be pieces of different specimens put together, but Circus pressured them into being quiet.
Why did he pressure them?
It's pretty obvious, really. He wanted to publish his newly bought fossil in every scientific journal to make it known across the world. But when he submitted it to Nature and Science, they rejected his article on the fossil because they could not get another scientist to review it. You know what this means, right, Toby?
Well, no. What does it mean?
Since National Geographic also couldn't get a peer review before they published the Archaeoraptor article, it never existed as a science article. The Archaeoraptor never existed in the science world.
What happened next after Circus was rejected?
The specialist denied him because of time constraints, but even then, National Geographic still published the article. Although most of the scientific community dismissed this, it went viral in the public. People everywhere believed this article just because it was in National Geographic. From there, it spread by newspapers and even to news stations who broadcasted this so-called missing link.
Very interesting indeed. Well, now we have archaeologist Alexander Perez to explain what exactly was found at the site. What did you see?
The fossil my team and I examined was composed of two distinct prehistoric organisms, one of a bird, the Eunornis, and one of a dinosaur, the Microraptor.
The Eunornis, an ancestor of birds in the Cretaceous era, was about the size of a modern chicken and had the capability of flight. With a scapula and coracoid being evolved into the perfect layout, like those of modern-day birds, it was able to lift its wings far above its back for efficient upstrokes. This made it an excellent flyer of its period. As you can see, the top section of the Eunornis fossil exactly matches the top part of the Archaeoraptor, but the bottom halves do not match, meaning that the Archaeoraptor was a composite of two fossils. As for the Microraptor, once it was discovered, further studies were made. This purest prehistoric dinosaur possesses 4 wings and is the only raptor to have 4 wings. Other studies showed this organism was an expert in the art of flight as it utilized its hind wings to stabilize itself during flight. The picture of the Microraptor shows what seems to be the bottom half of the Archaeoraptor, but how can this be when it belongs to the Microraptor?
So these two fossils were used to make a fake one.
Precisely. With further study, they found even more errors with the fossil.
What did they find off about it?
His partner CT scanned it and found that the slabs did not come from the same rock. Chinese partner Zhu Xing realized that the tail of the Archaeoraptor was exactly the same as the tail of a fossil he was currently studying. Back to my previous point, the tail that Zhu Xing was studying was that of a Microraptor. The scientists found out that the remains of the tail did not match at all with the upper portions of the fossil. This newfound information was sent to National Geographic, which caused a rise in the possibility of this not being a genuine fossil.
It seems that the fossil was proven to be fake eventually. Now we have a video that reviews our subject.
A Tinker Toy fossil embarrasses scientists. Learn about it next on today's Creation Moment. And now, here's our Creation Moments host, Ian Taylor.
In October of 1999, scientists announced the discovery of a new fossil at the National Geographic Society in Washington. Scientists from the Dinosaur Museum in Blanding, Utah, and at the Institute of Vertebrate Paleontology and Paleoanthropology in Beijing, China, announced the discovery of a so-called missing link. The feathered fossil was clearly a bird, but it had the tail of a small dinosaur. They named it Archaeoraptor. The fossil from China was not excavated by scientists, and those scientists were not sure of its history. But it did show the specialized shoulders and chest typical of birds, but it also had a long tail identical to some small dinosaurs. After the announcement, scientists proceeded to study the fossil in detail. They found that a few bones that would have been connected to the tail to the bird were missing. After more study, they concluded that they had been fooled. Someone seems to have taken the fossilized tail of a dromaeosaurid and made it look as if it had been part of the fossil bird. The scientists involved have admitted that they made a mistake by not examining the fossil before they announced the discovery of a missing link. Like so many other missing links before, any links between birds and dinosaurs remain missing. Every uncontested missing link that was ever discovered has suffered the same fate as Archaeoraptor.
The Archaeoraptor is one of the most controversial subjects in the scientific community. It is also a prime example of why solid evidence is needed to prove a scientific concept. Overall, this incident caused slight damage to National Geographic's reputation, as well as costed museum owner Stephen Zirkus many of his funds in his belief of the fossil. What we can learn from this is that scientific re-evaluations are important in new findings. Our knowledge of science allows us to prove or disprove any new findings in the scientific world. This concludes our program, Mystery of the Archaeoraptor. Thank you for tuning in.